drive from Knoxville, Tennessee, here in East Tennessee. But I am very, very excited to pick this head coach's brain because the WCC, as a lot of folks know, is a really, really good college basketball conference. It's only going up, and it's one of my favorites during the season to watch, and it's a lot of good basketball. And one of those people responsible for the good late night basketball for a lot of those diehard college basketball fans is Coach Shantay Legans. Shantay, how is it going, sir?
It's going pretty good. It's going pretty good. Just summer workouts and getting the guys moving and grooving. But you got to give a lot of love to the Gonzaga because they're the ones on TV. You ain't getting on the computer to watch us.
Hold on, though. The tournament, and you see where you're at because San
There
Francisco
you
tournament
go.
team, Santa Clara
That's
tournament
right. You
team,
got
St.
us.
Mary.
You
Like,
got us
there's a
going.
lot of stuff. If you want to be up to date, it's like, oh, who's Gonzaga playing? It's like, no, Gonzaga's
There
playing
you
against
go.
a lot of tough competition. Like, it's not just
Exactly.
Gonzaga running roughshod over the WCC. That's not reality.
No, it's not. And so, but they're the ones on ESPN right now. I mean, like you did say, the league is coming up. I mean, if you
Mm-hmm.
look at these teams, if you look at the coaches they're bringing in Steve Lavin down in
Mm-hmm.
San Diego. They're pretty good. It's going to be a pretty fun team to play against now. You just lost Todd Golden, but
Mm-hmm.
the new coach there is big time. Obviously, Coach Bennett and Coach Fewer, Hall of Fame coaches, and you got Lorenzo Romar, who's been to Elite Eights and tournaments, and Coach Pro. So the league's on the move up, and it's exciting to be a part of it. And you joke around and you're always saying, yeah, Gonzaga this, but there's some teams in this league that in some time I think we'll be giving a lot of teams in this league a run for their money. And so we're trying to get into the upper half of that league, and I think we're making some good strides doing it.
What do you think makes basketball different in the Pacific Northwest? Is there a different brand? Is there a different style and different kind of kid you recruit in the Northwest?
Well, kind of. You try to recruit I recruit relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I recruit to people that understand the kind of players that we're looking for. You also recruit players that want to be at your university. There's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of kids you go out and try to recruit, and you try to get them to be excited about the University of Portland. And you find those kids, and the
Mm-hmm.
ones you find, they become diehards. They become great program guys. And then you got to go find the guys that are getting recruited and wooed by different schools, and so you got to
Mm-hmm.
figure out how to get those kids here also. But you really recruit relationships. You hope you've built some of those, and you hope you have some good assistants that have built some great relationships along the way, so we can get some kids that fit our system and fit how we play. I'm not going to go out and grab a certain kid that doesn't fit the style of basketball we play. And so we really look hard for those. And so it's kind of different. I love to play fast, but
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't say we're the most athletic team out there. But I want to play fast. If you see Gonzaga up here, if you see UW, they're all trying to play fast. So you get guys up here that want to move up and
Why do you
down the
think that
court a little
is?
bit. I don't know. I just think I think it's like you said, it's a style.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at, especially in the WCC,
Mm-hmm.
it's a very if you look at us and then you look at some other leagues, you'd be like, well, that they look like they play a different style than a lot of
Right.
other leagues. And so I think it just has a lot to do with who you're playing against and the kind of kids you can get here. And everyone says, oh well, it's West Coast basketball, it's a little soft. I mean, you get that, but as you keep moving forward and you keep seeing these teams, there's some very tough teams out here. And so, but skills, we look for skill, we look for shooting. I love guys that can shoot the ball and do other things, and so that's what we recruit to, and I think a lot of teams out here do the same.
Does just being at Portland is that advantageous from a recruiting standpoint?
It is. I mean, I was recruiting to Eastern Washington, and
Mm-hmm.
we were finding guys, but Portland's a great city,
Yeah.
and you're able to get, and you're in an NBA town. They love
Mm-hmm.
basketball here. Portland, the Moda Center is 15 minutes away.
Mm-hmm.
So they love their basketball here. So it makes it easy. It's easy to fly into. There's some
Yeah.
schools in our league you can't fly to. It was always hard to say, hey, you could take one stop from big hubs, and so
Yep.
I think that really helps you. And then even for international kids, they've heard of Portland before, and so
Mm-hmm.
it's really putting us in a good it really puts us in a good spot.
How did your time at Eastern Washington prepare you for this job at Portland?
It prepared me a lot. My time at Eastern Washington was amazing. I started as the bottom assistant there.
Mm-hmm.
Worked my tail off. Had some good bosses ahead of me. Kirk Earlywine and Jim Hafer. They were both the head coaches while I was there. Just learned so much because there was so much hands-on stuff. It was hands-on of everything. So I was doing so much of stuff that you wouldn't even think of as an assistant coach. If you're not in it, you wouldn't know. Like getting
Mm-hmm.
in a van and going to run camps out at Whelping it, and picking basketballs up and pumping them up and just doing a lot of different things. Handling a budget, handling food for the guys, handling transportation. I mean, you got to do everything, and
Mm-hmm.
so I felt like putting me in a position now really helpful. And right now, it's just you got so much help. It's a little different. I'm tasked with learning again how to delegate stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which wasn't something that we were doing as much at Eastern Washington. I still have a lot of hands on a lot of things, but there's a lot of people that at this place they're here to help you. And so at Eastern we had to do the fundraising. We had to build a schedule by ourselves. We had to figure out meals. We had to figure out how we're getting there. I mean, there's so much stuff you didn't even think about you'd have to do, but it gets you prepared for a lot of different things. I've had some assistant coaches that came with me be like, oh man, we don't have to do this, this, and this right now. That's amazing. And so, but we're still figuring out. There's still a lot of work to be done here. But that time at Eastern Washington really prepared me for pretty much anything. Anything except for people doing everything for you. So that it's prepared you for anything.
What did you think about the Portland job before you took it that you now realized you were wrong about?
The support,
Mm.
they get from the alumni. I was kind of again, nothing wrong with Eastern. I think that's an amazing school, but the alumni that played there and different things like that, you weren't as connected.
Mm.
It wasn't like you have people, not just athletics, but just pretty much anything. Because if you look at where I came from, Eastern Washington,
Mm-hmm.
there's so many graduates and alumni that are in Spokane area that just aren't big supporters of it. But if you look at Portland, I mean, you get supporters from all over the world, but especially in this area. And I get emails and I get text messages and from different years of players that played here. Players that I haven't even looked at before. You bump into people around town who weren't part of any part of athletics, but they love UP.
Mm-hmm.
Love the coming to the games, and so the support you have here is amazing. And then just the things you hear as a coach. You sit in the stands and you listen to you're watching kids and they talk about different jobs and they talk about different programs and where each program is at, and you just listen. You gain as much information as possible, and you take that information, you do what you need to do with it. But just the support that you're getting from you know across campus, our administration, the athletic director, everyone involved is really, really pumped up about, UP athletics, not just our basketball program, but everybody. And I feel like it's a really tight knit group, the athletic department. So I'm really excited to be a part of it.
What would you say is the biggest challenge for the year ahead for your team?
Handling a little bit of success and
Mm-hmm.
understanding that wasn't good enough, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
We got sixth place last year. I thought, you look at it and it's a good year. You win 19 games, you win your first, postseason game ever at the university. You do a lot of firsts and
Mm-hmm.
you do a lot of things that hasn't been done since, and so, as a returning guy, you look at it and you're excited about it, but you also like you say, you know what, we made some strides, but that wasn't good enough. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you want to win the league. You want to be battling for a championship. That's the whole point of sports. You want to win, and at least at the end of the day, you want to build relationships and everything like that. But you want to win. That's the whole goal. And so, you're getting pats on the back for winning 19 games and getting sixth place and winning a WCC tournament game. I mean, that's good. That's something to be proud of, but that's not where you want to end up. You want to end up
Mm-hmm.
in first, second, and you want to be playing for the NCAA tournament. And so, you know, handling a little bit of success, but understanding that was nothing near where we need to end up. And so, that's what we're pushing for all the time. And so that's going to be the hardest challenge for us is getting these newcomers to understand, or getting our guys that were here last year to understand that wasn't good enough. And then also getting these newcomers to understand that's nowhere near where we need to be. And you guys are here to push us to the next level. And so that's going to be something challenging for our staff.
How did your offensive and defensive philosophy change from Eastern Washington to Portland?
Well, it changed a lot because we didn't have a lot of depth last year,
Yeah.
and so we went from, not being as aggressive defensively as we have been, and then also not playing as fast as we wanted to. I mean, we,
Mm-hmm.
when we took the job at Eastern Washington, we were top 10 in, assists, top 10 in pace, top 10 in points per, top 10 in 3-point shooting. We did a lot of those things, which we'll be able to get back to, and I know we will. But we didn't have the depth, so we played a little bit slower. We played a lot, very conservative defensively, and then we try to play without fouling, and so that's something that I want them to play free and easy, but that's one thing that I had them thinking about constantly is you can't get in foul trouble.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, hands up, don't reach, don't. But we want to sometimes make a gamble for a steal. We want to be smart and be aggressive, but we weren't able to do that offensively or defensively. And I think as we gain our depth, as we start building with our roster, I think we'll be able to play much faster, and our defense will be much more aggressive. We like to do a lot of different things, each half, but we weren't able to do this year. So I think we'll be able to get back to that with a little bit of the depth we got coming in.
That's interesting. Do you think, because I remember talking to Jay Billis about this a few months back, and the data seemed to support this, was just that like foul calls were, the game was called differently this past year. And okay, so that reaction tells me you saw it too, just coaching firsthand.
Yeah, it was, and it's changing, and you want to figure out, okay, how's it going to change? Like there's a new rule coming in that's going to shock everybody, but your first flop's a technical.
Yeah.
Right. And so, that's tough because that's part of the game. People flop. That's part of the game. And
it's so subjective.
It is. And so like, what's going to be a technical, what's not going to be a technical? Well, that's a charge. That's really hard to call. And I think, I love the advancements we're trying to do, but in the game to make it scoring, to do a lot of things for the offense, but the physicality of the game, you're trying to take away, but you also got to understand that the bigger guys will be more physical inside against each other. That's just basketball. And so you can't reward somebody at my stature guarding a 7-footer and I just fall down.
Yeah.
That's now a charge, but I also took it in my chest.
Right.
And so I took a charge. Now I took it in the chest. You're calling a flop, but I got hit.
Yeah. I promise you it's not a flop. That man is just a lot bigger than me. Yeah.
And so, like you said, it's subjective to each game. And so now, and I've done it in the past, but we see who's reffing the game and how they call it and how they called it before. And so now you have to throw that into the equation of, who's reffing each game and being able to talk to guys about this is how the game will be called. And so, it's tough because, for instance, we played in a tournament in San Antonio last year. We're a West Coast team. We played in a tournament in San Antonio last year. It's called much different. The year before, we played in the, when I was at Eastern, we played in the Big Sky. We went to the NCAA tournament. That was night and day. And so, it's just like everything else. Like you say, styles of play.
Yeah.
It goes up and down with the officials too. And so it's really hard to be like, hey, this game, they're going to call hand checking. This game, they won't call this. This game, you got to body up and out. So you now got to start also, figuring out who's reffing the games for you guys and going from there. And so it was ref differently. And so, I understand what they're trying to do and what they're trying to accomplish, which is great. The rules committee, which I'm hoping to, help out. But as you keep moving forward, it's one of those things where you're trying to make the game the best entertainment as possible to get people to, get excited about it and want to come watch it more and see the free flowing. But they also got to understand there's a physicality to some of this stuff that as a player, as a coach, that you just understand, like, that's not a foul. Right now you get some, I get that, but that's not a foul. And I think the hardest thing in the world for the referees next year, and is going to be that charge flop, because that's a straight technical if you call it. So I want to be
technical for you in response to said technical, because I don't think you're gonna like that first one being called on your guys.
I can't wait till the last 1 minute and 30 seconds of a game and Drew Timmy takes a charge.
Yeah.
And my guy lays it in and they call a flop. They get a technical. We get two, we get a layup and a free throw. And now we go up. I'm just saying, I want to see how, they're going to respond to that. You see how I said that?
Hey, you're putting it out in the world.
Yeah, you got to but I just want to see those responses. Are they going to keep that whistle that tight, that late in the game? It's just going to be, it's impossible. I can't ref in practice.
Yeah.
Like the guys complain about every call in practice, right? And so, luckily I could run them, right? But I feel these referees are in such a bad, tough spot.
Yeah.
My team, we take a lot of charges, because we're we're
Well,
not
you're
the
gonna have to
biggest
change
team.
that philosophy this offseason?
Yeah, we're going to have to because it's going to be a technical
Yeah.
one shot almost every, and so
But
now
how
do
do you
we
even get
now
that out of guys who've spent years and years playing that style? Like,
taking
you
it?
just can't
And
turn
that's
that
tough.
off.
That's tough. And so when you look at it, I don't feel bad for referees
Yeah.
because it's a good thing it's a good thing they get to do. But I do feel also on the flip side, I do feel bad for referees because it's a tough spot to be in.
Mhm.
You got X coach over here, and then you got a coach that's won 1,000 games over there talking about what you calling a technical on me right now,
Yeah.
and so that's going to be hard. And I think you're going to see a lot of upticks in personal technicals,
Mhm.
because of certain things like that. And it's just going to be tough. It's going to be a tough year early. And I just, they always started off early, but I want to see how it's going to be late, and so to adjust is going to be tough. So maybe no one flops anymore, but also you won't see any charges anymore. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
The one thing I would love to see in the college game too, I mean, the NBA just adopted this. I don't know if you saw that, where the transition take fouls out, which is something that should have been done a long time ago. Like,
Yes,
it's just one of those easy things where it's like that is
I know.
it.
That's
it
tough. That's I teach my team that.
yeah.
I teach my team to take fouls. I do. I
Mhm.
teach them, and that's another thing we couldn't do last year.
Mhm.
I teach them to if you turn it over or they're on an advantage break, you take the
Mhm.
foul, and let's just get back. I mean, your
Yeah,
foul's
it's
not that
advantageous,
important,
but it's
and
like
so
it's bad for TV. It's bad
it's
for
bad.
yeah.
It's bad, but it's a rule,
Mhm.
just like anything else that you need to figure out how to take advantage of, and that's
Mhm.
something my teams have been, we've been able to do in the past. So yeah, I do like to see it out of the NBA game, and I think it'll creep into our game soon. They've taken it out of FIBA; they call it an intentional right away.
Yep.
You got to be making a play on the ball, which I think is good. But right now I teach that, so I feel like
Mhm.
one of them scammers in the video games in Street Fighter when you just slide kick the whole time.
Yeah. Hey
But
man, you're just if that's the way the rules work for
yeah,
you, I mean, you got to play it that way.
I know. But that's just one of the things we've done. And they usually figure it out and they take them out in time. But it's one of those things where I do like to see that rule, taken
Mhm.
out because it does slow the game down. And I think FIBA does a good job because you have to be going for the ball.
Mhm.
You have to be going for the ball. You just can't reach in, and even if it's like you get beat and you just foul the foul, even in FIBA, international games, they call that an intentional foul,
Mhm.
and so that gets guys away from just fouling the foul now, and so I think that's something that we should be adopting sooner or later too.
Yeah, that, and then I would do this will probably never happen, is just no timeouts under 2 minutes. Like, just make guys
Yeah,
have to think and play, and just that kind of intensity would just because that's, I think, a FIBA thing where you can't call the timeouts,
that's
that late.
tough. Yeah, only on a
Yeah.
made basket,
Yeah.
and so it's one of those things. Yeah, I mean, you got. I mean, FIBA does some right things. They do
Mhm.
some really good things, and I think if we can all just have one set of rules,
Yeah.
where the NBA doesn't have a rule, FIBA doesn't have a rule, college doesn't have a rule. I think if we can get everything together, the quarters,
Mhm.
the moving the ball to half court on timeouts, or under because I don't think we'll ever go to quarters in men's basketball.
Yeah.
So maybe being able to move the ball from the back court to the front court under 2 minutes. I mean, those kind of things. I mean, it takes away the Christian Laettner shot.
I
It
was
takes
gonna
away
say, yeah, something
it
that
takes
college
away some
basketball
of that
fans are
stuff.
accustomed to.
Yeah, but it takes away some of that stuff. But now you're able to move that ball to half court and be able to do different things. I think
Mhm.
that's something that could be pretty cool. And they're talking about having a coaches challenge, which is going to be, they're talking about that because the NBA did it. I mean,
Mm.
again,
Do
that's
you
going to
want
be
that?
hard. I don't know, not really. That just means I can mess up more. That's on me, guys. That's on me. Um,
Do you think most
but
coaches don't want it?
I think coaches would like it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd figure out which ones, but there's so many times where you think you're right, and then you go and watch it afterwards.
Mhm.
You're like, damn, I was wrong. And so I don't want to know right away. I want to be able
Yeah.
to act like with the rest of the home crowd that yeah, we were right.
Uh-huh.
But I think that's something that the game's going to come to. I think we could figure it out. But I think that's something you can use, and you could probably save a foul or something on one of your better players, or something like that. I think
Mhm.
that's very. I think that could be useful. But then it's another way that the game slows down.
Mhm.
And so how do we do that but make the game still play at a high speed?
The Portland team that will roll out the ball on the court this fall, is that going to be the best when fans are watching it? Like this team and the roster that you have right now, and you're thinking about the depth chart, and thinking about your rotations and your play style. Is this going to be the closest you've had to a team just completely being what you want your basketball team to look like?
100%. I mean,
Okay.
we have guys, we have big guys now. We
Mm-hmm.
got some kids that have some girth. Last year, our center was 6'5". I mean,
Ooh.
and
Yeah.
so he's going to be able to play a huge role, but he was playing out of position. We
Mm-hmm.
got guys who are playing out of position. I mean, I think we were one of the teams that played our guys the most with 3-4 fouls. We're one of the teams that played our guys the most period. Six guys played a majority of the minutes, so that's going to change. We'll have a little bit more depth. We'll be able to play a little bit faster. We'll be
Mm-hmm.
able to do some things that I think a lot of teams will be excited about, and so fans will be excited about watching because and we have a schedule this year that's going to be a lot of fun. So we get to really test to see where we're at. We got some veterans that are teaching the newer guys. I can't say they're young guys, but the newer guys here, and we got some freshmen that are Eagles that learn and get better. So I do like our roster. Barring injury, we got Chris Austin, who's coming off a broken leg. We got Jack Perry, who's coming back, who's coming off an ACL. So even without those two guys to start the season, I still feel good about our roster. Those two guys are really talented and very good and important to our program. But I think we have some guys here that, were looked over in the transfer portal, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have some guys that are ready and eager to, they have chips on their shoulder and they're ready to go. So that's going to be something that I'm really excited about.
I like it. What's the biggest position battle, do you think, in camp when you're looking
God,
at this roster? What do you think it is?
I'm hoping it's we got three of them, but I'm hoping
Mm,
it's going to be our post position. I'm
mm,
hoping our sophomore takes a big jump, and then I think we got some guards that can really fight for some major minutes. And so
mm,
right now, you're looking at it. One of our post players is injured, and the other guy's getting all the reps right now. But the other post player's got some experience to him, and so you're looking at that because that's a big position for me for how we play. It looks like we shoot a lot of threes. Looks like we play really fast, but that position's so key to us
mm.
being successful. And so we got to make sure that that position's always going to be ready to go. So that's going to be a big position for us.
When you look at this season as a whole, though, what are you most excited about? Is there a stretch of games that you think you'll learn a lot about your team? Is
Yeah.
there one particular thing you've got your eye on at this moment?
Well, we're playing the PK85, and so
Mm,
selfishly we get to play against probably North Carolina, which is dope.
yeah,
As a player. Now, you're not supposed to say all that kind of stuff, but that's cool. I've
I mean it's
always wanted to
real.
play. Yeah, I've always wanted. I wish we were playing at their place.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool. But we get to maybe play teams like that. We get to face off against Oregon again. If North
Hmm.
Carolina is number one in the country, we get to play them. We make Gonzaga will probably be number one in the country, so we get to play the number one country, number one team in the country, or at least top five teams in the country a
Hmm.
couple times, which is awesome, man. And it's great for recruiting. It's great for our players to get the opportunity to be able to, play against the top talent in the country.
Hmm.
Our schedule is awesome. I think there's that stretch of games in the PK85 is going to be unbelievable. It's going to be a lot of fun basketball. I get to see other coaches how they do things up close and personal. Because once you're in season and once you're doing things and you're so focused on your team, which I
Hmm.
probably will be anyway. But you see you see other teams play, you respect other coaches, and so a lot of those coaches will be here. A lot of those coaches that you look to and to gain it. You just they don't know, but you're gaining stuff from. You listen to their interviews, you see how they did things, and you just focus on different things with coaches. It's just something something you do a lot of, and I'm somebody who steals everything from somebody. This is there's some great coaches and there's some really really intelligent people that have done this that haven't been successful. Why not? What happened? And there's some guys that you think that guy is the dumbest dude in the world, but he is balling. What's he
Hmm.
doing? And so you got to figure out and so you got to have all those coaches in one tournament. And they're not
Hmm.
all the there's some Coach Cal and some other coaches won't be here, but you have some of the best coaches, some of the best young coaches too. I mean, Coach Izzo's going to be here. Like,
Hmm.
man, that's big time. He's won national championships, and so you'll have different coaches like that in the thing. Not saying that, and we get to play against some every single year in our conference, but it's going to be pretty cool to see that up close and personal.
That's gotta be weird. Do you remember just walking out and just shaking hands with Mark Few and being like, "Oh, this is real. I'm here now.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
this is a thing."
Because we played them before
Yeah.
when I was at Eastern, but it was a little different.
When you're in the conference, yeah.
When you're in the conference, it's a little different because it's a preseason games. It's awesome. It's cool. It's
Mhm.
something you do. Like I played against Coach Bennett. Coach Bennett recruited me. Coach Few
Mm.
recruited me. I got letters from Coach. A lot of coaches that now I'm coaching against, which is awesome.
Mhm.
You want to beat those guys. Haven't yet. But you want to beat those guys. But yeah, it's something special. It's surreal, and now you've done it now, and so it's like okay, getting to play against Coach Romar, someone who recruited,
Mhm.
and again, I've coached against him before, but it's just a little different when it's in the league, and so playing against Coach Lavin when he was at
Mhm.
UCLA, and getting recruited by Coach Lavin is going to be, it's going to be cool to see him. I'll
It's a
always
stacked conference in the coaching
it
ranks.
is. It is. And so like if you look at it and you're like, oh well this is gonna be a tough league,
Mhm.
They like to keep calling it a mid major league, but we had more teams in a lot of these so called Power Five leagues in the
Yeah.
tournament. And I think if you look at it, we keep pushing. We keep
Mhm.
pushing, and we're trying to catch. If some of these teams can catch the St. Mary's or catch a
Mhm.
Gonzaga, that means that's three teams for sure.
Right.
And as you lose a school like BYU, it just gives another team a chance, an opportunity to take a huge leap forward. I
Mhm.
hope that team's us. And so that's what we're pushing for. But being able to see those coaches and coach against them and see, hey, this is something that you've been wanting to do your whole coaching career, and at the end of the day, you want to win a championship, you want to win the national championship, but you're coaching against guys that have done that and have been the number one team, and so that's awesome, and you want your players to feel that same excitement. You get to play against these dudes, man. Like I told our guys last year, like, oh, yeah, we're playing against these guys, but you're playing against probably the number one pick in the NBA draft next year. Like,
Mhm.
you don't think it's a big deal now, but you will think it's a big deal when you're 25 years old, or
Yep.
when you're 25, 26 years old, and you're watching this dude become an NBA All Star. You played against Jalen. You guarded Jalen Williams one on one
Mhm.
from the wing. Like that's something you could, I got a bucket on,
Yeah.
or you're striving to be that guy and you have an opportunity to. So same as coaches, same as players, we all want to, push and play and coach against the best. And so that was one thing that I love coming to this place is you get to play and coach against the best day in and day out. That's a great recruiting tool too.
There you go. Coach, we got to get you to East Tennessee. When are you coming to play Rick Barnes, one of the best? When are we getting you to
Yeah,
Knoxville?
see, like you said, styles of play.
Yeah, it's a little different.
That's a different
We're going
style.
to put you in the grinder. You're not going to like
Oh,
it. Hey, but you'll be
he
better off for it.
I thought, again, that's he was at Texas, right?
Mhm.
And so, and you hear things, and so they let him go from Texas, but he took
Mhm.
his whole staff with him to Tennessee. And I think, I don't know the ins and outs of what happened in Texas, but it maybe had something to do with if you get rid of this guy, you can keep your job. But he said, nah, no bueno, I'm taking all my guys and we're going. And
Yeah.
it worked. It worked. He's kicking butt there. So that's something you see, and you see the loyalty from a head coach to his guys, and so that's something you take. I've never met the man before in my life, but I have
We
the
got to make that
utmost respect
happen,
for him.
Shantay.
He's an unbelievable coach.
We got to get you to Knoxville for a game.
Yeah. Well, we can do a home and home. You talked about.
I do a home and
I
home.
would
I want to
love
go to
Tennessee to
Portland. I
come
want to
out
go to
here. Yeah.
Northwest.
But no, it's just you pick things up like that, and
Yeah.
I don't know if that story's true, but you
Yeah.
hear things as you go around, and he's somebody that you can admire because he seems like he does it the right way, and you get a lot of those stories. You only hear a lot of the bad stuff, right?
Yeah.
About certain things and certain coaches, but you never hear like those types of things and how coaches have been loyal and how coaches have done things to help people out. But that's one of the things I would love to play against them, to be honest. It would be unbelievable to take our team out there and maybe get two games out there, play at Belmont, and then
Ooh,
play
there you
you
go.
guys. See, I'm always thinking, always moving
That
around,
works
trying to
though.
get
Belmont,
games.
great
Yeah.
program too.
Oh,
Great.
unbelievable. Head
Yeah,
coach can coach his butt off too. So
absolutely.
you read about the up and comers too, so he can really coach that. As you look at it, that may be something I have to talk to my AD about. He's got to get moving.
Hey, this is what I'm here for. Ideas, ideas.
I
Shantay, how
like
do the
it.
good folks support your program who listen in from the Northwest region? How do they support Portland this summer, this fall? What can they look out for?
Well, just to keep, we have open practices, so we have
Hmm.
everybody come as long as we can. So come on out. We're in the mornings. We just it's going to be something that a lot of people in the Northwest are going to love to come out and watch us play
Hmm.
this year. It's going to be a fun style of basketball, and I hope this leads to a lot of wins because this is a hungry basketball city, and we're just glad to be a part of it.
There you
We're
go.
juiced.
Shantay, this has been great. I appreciate you making the time today. I wish you nothing but the best this season, and we'll have to check back in again soon.
Man, I appreciate it. Please check back in. It's big time to especially get heard everywhere. We have a kid from
Hmm.
out that way. His name is obviously he's not from there, but he's from Memphis.
Okay.
Alden Applewhite,
Okay.
transfer from Mississippi State. He's
Hmm.
out here, so maybe some of his people can hear that. He's going to be a huge part of our program too. He's a very good player.
There you go. I
Excited to
like
have
it.
him. So there you go. I got a little bit of flair out there, so
Yeah.
we can do
I
some things.
I like it. I like it. Shantay Legans, looking forward to seeing you on Rocky Top in 2025 for the Rick Barnes Shantay Legans Bowl. I'm
I
looking
am
forward
in
to
it.
it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.